Hey guys, got a JBL Flip 3 here, Bluetooth speaker, self-contained battery and speaker and whatnot inside. Connects to your phone and plays music, the usual sort of thing. But this is actually a friend, and I was given this because I was tasked with repairing the USB charging port here. See if you can zoom in. It's been munched. So it's like something's been pushed in there the wrong way around, or it's been pushed sideways while it was plugged in there. So we can't actually charge it. So my mates asked me if I could actually replace that and see if we can get it working again. It seems like it still has charge, but it's going to be pretty flat soon. So we're going to fix that and get it working again. So I was having a look at it and I was thinking there's not really many screws on the outside, but it turns out what we have to do is we have to take this kind of fabric sort of grill off. And the way we do that was we have to pry it underneath here, and there's some clips on both sides, and then it kind of just stretches off like this. So it is pretty easy to do if you're careful. So I've got a small flathead here. We're just going to get in here and just pry it open a bit. So if we get in there, you hear it kind of click once I get it out. There we go. So we work our way along. There we go. Just like that. See, there's one side open. Now we've got to do the other side. The side with the buttons here, you want to be a little bit careful. Don't stick too far in, otherwise you're going to damage the rubber buttons underneath there. But it's basically rinse and repeat, the same sort of thing. There we go. So there's 3 clips, I think. Or there's 2 large ones on the ends, and there might be one in the middle as well. Yeah, just there, there's one for the buttons. So on the button side there's 3 clips, on the non-button side there's 2. Now what we can do is we can just kind of bring that out. And we got in. So there's 3 posts here as well. So that's going to stop you from being able to just slide it off. You've got to pull it directly, kind of stretch it like that and pull it out. Now it'll come straight off, and you can see it's plastic inside, so that's why it's springy and it doesn't, it's not just fabric glued down, it's actually on a backing panel. So I'll get that out the way, and then we've got the speakers. So there's 2 speakers in there. They look like they're about 1 inch or so. I'll grab my, what do we got? Yeah, about the actual cone, not including the surround, is 1 inch, 25 millimeters. So I've got 2 of those in there, and then there's 2 passive radios at the end. They've just got a bit of metal inside, like a washer, to give it a bit of weight to tune to a certain frequency, and they're not driven at all. It's just these 2 speakers that do the actual sound production. So the next step is we've got to get rid of this sort of cover that comes around the ends. So we've got 3 screws here, 3 screws here, and then 2 on each end. So we'll get rid of those. Now the 2 in the end, need my Phillips head. The 2 in the end are a different screw type to the rest. So just be aware of that. These ones are kind of like a pointed end, whereas the others are more of a machine screw with a flat end. So we'll undo those. You can leave them in there, I think, and it won't be too much of a problem. And then there's 3 here and 3 here. You see there's actually 6 per side. You only want to undo the top ones first, because once we take this off, then we'll do the other 6 underneath. So we'll pull that out. Okay, once you've got those screws, that will just come off like that. So there's your Bluetooth button and your power button and the indicator there. So I'll get that out the way as well. And then here you can see that's where the buttons are. Under this cover is the charging port, of course. Alright, next step, we've got to take the top cover off. There's 6 screws here, and then once they're undone, it's going to be a bit stiff, but you can kind of, there's a little ledge just here, just there, and then under here as well. You can kind of just carefully pry it up once you've undone the screws. So let's undo those screws. and we'll give it a go. Alright, so we'll get our flathead again, and you just get underneath here, and just carefully, and on the other end, and then that will lift up. Now don't just take it straight off, because we've got a flat flex under there. You don't want to break that. Now it doesn't look like it's going to be an easy way to disconnect that, because it's glued in here, and here it's coming up to this, where the LEDs here are on the buttons. So just put that aside carefully. That's the part I've got to replace. Now you can see there's the lithium battery here. There's actually a rating and a part number on there, so I'm going to get my magnifying glass and have a look, my loop. It's a 3.7 volt, 3000 milliamp hour, or 3 amp hour, 11.1 watt hour lithium polymer, and there's a model number. It's a P763098, then a space 09. So just a looks like a standard lithium battery. Looks like a little remote control car style one, like with the blue casing on there, the blue heat shrink. But being, what was it, 3.7 volts, that'll be a single cell in there, nice and thick. So it's a reasonable battery there. And then we got the battery, the button panel here, and our charging port and our input, like a headphone jack input. So that's what I've got to replace there. But just out of interest's sake, let's pull one of the speakers out, or maybe both of them out, and have a look inside there. So I'm going to get a different screwdriver, because these are a bigger screw. Now I have heard that there's some problems with these Bluetooth speakers, this model in particular. If it gets too hot, the speakers tend to distort, because something to do with the glue delaminating, or the speaker gets affected by the heat. I don't know where to get these speakers to replace them, but maybe you could, at a pinch, find a similar size speaker and replace it, but I would replace them as a pair, because you want them matched, so they're not fighting against each other with their different characteristics and whatnot. But I mean, maybe there's a supplier online. This one is fine though, it hasn't been too hot, so just don't leave it in, on the dashboard or on the rear parcel shelf of your car or anything where too hot like that. So to unplug it, you pull it out and just use your finger to push that plug out. So there we go, rubber gasket. Now it doesn't, that's a, let's have a look under here. Well, there's some numbers. I'll read those numbers out just in case they're relevant. Let's have a look. Upside down. We've got, that's a 4 ohm speaker, 0324-00, and on the next line is WK week 15. Oh yeah, that's week 15. No, WK 1523. So maybe it's week 23 2015. It is a relatively new item. So yeah, that's the little speaker there. 3 connections to it. That's interesting. Let's have a look, see if there's 2 voice coils. No. Maybe it's a grounding thing, like for interference, because it looks like it's connected to the case. See the center one there? It's punched through. So it looks like that white one is connected to the case. That's interesting. The black and red are the ones that are being used for the actual coil. Alright, well, I'll plug that there back on. Alright, let's take the next one out, just for fun. Trying not to put the screwdriver through the cone, because that would be a little bit unfortunate if I did that. Alright, same deal, just get your finger in there and push that plug up. There we go. That's going to be exactly the same speaker, same part number. So you can see in there, there's the board. There's a bit of a inductor down in that corner there. You can see the plug, and the other side the other plug. A few capacitors. Might be a D-class amp or something. A little chip amp in there somewhere. It's hard to see. Oh, just here looks like the Bluetooth. I'll bring that a bit closer. You can see that piggyback PCB there. It's going to focus. I'd say that's probably the Bluetooth there. It's like a module they just put in there. And that's pretty much all that I can see. I don't want to dismantle this too much. I'm not going to take that board out because there's a lot of glue and Celastic in there to seal it up, so I'd rather not damage it too much. But anyway, let's turn it back over, and that's the board I've got to deal with. So it looks like it, oh, maybe it's a plug there. It looks like I can maybe lift that out somehow, although it may be glued in. Yeah, let's... Oh, there we go. It's coming out with the old Celastic holding it in. Now, what do we got? Now, looks like you've got two connections to that board, and they're soldered, not plugged. So that's going to make it a pain. So what I might do, I'm going to desolder this and pull that board out, because they're not plugs, they're just kind of soldered in headers. Yeah, and I think if I desolder that, I'll be able to remove that easily. There's two headers there, one for the phono jack, the audio input, and one for the USB. That's the one we've got to replace. And it's a surface mount, so I'm going to have to take it out. I can't just desolder it from the back. Alright, I'm going to do that and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I got the board out, and it's really small, as you can see, compared to my hands, my fingers. I've got the two connections, the top 4 of the charging and the bottom 3 is ground, left and right audio in for this plug here. So to remove this socket, the USB one, you can see there it's all kind of destroyed inside. I'm going to desolder the 4 sides, 1, 2, 3 and 4, the 4 corners. And here, if that's going to focus, come on, it's going to focus on my hand instead. These 4 pads, which you can't really see, oh there we go. You can see I kind of messed up there, but it's alright on the other side, so it's not too bad, whatever. But I'm going to desolder those 4 pads because they look like they're through hole. So if I suck the solder out of there, I can peel off the metal case, and then I can carefully desolder each of the 5 pins in there. That way I can get this off without damaging the circuit board. I'm not going to try and pull this off in one piece and keep it because it's broken anyway, so I'm just going to cut it to pieces and carefully remove it. And then when I put the new one on, solder it in, and we're done. Put the thing back together. So it'll be a bit difficult to do it under the camera. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip the metal, desolder it, pull it out, and then carefully remove each pin, probably one by one, or see if we can just blob some solder on there and remove it all in one go. That might be the easiest actually. So I'll be back in a sec once I've got it all done, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've got the top case off. I just snipped it with some surface side cutters here, and then I desoldered the front pins. You can see there the empty holes, and took the front part of the case off. I'm going to now take this piece out. I'll probably just blob solder on the pins and lift it away, and then solder suck the solder away, and then that will let me get to the rear pins, and then I can clear those out. I don't want to pull them out yet, because if I try now, it's going to rip these little pins here off, because that bottom part has a piece of metal going underneath. So I'm going to lift the plastic here. You can see it's all smashed up in there. So I'll lift that out, and then I'll clear out the rest, and then we've got a set of clean pads to put the new part on. There we go. That's all removed, ready to go. Ready to put the new one on. So I'll scrounge from my box. Hopefully I've got a replacement one, but if not, I'll just hit eBay or something, get a new plug, and then stick it in, and then we'll put the thing back together. We got the new USB port here on the left, and the circuit board on the right. You can see there's 4 legs, 4 holes for 4 legs. So I've got a 4-leg style USB port. The 2-leg style seems to be very common on eBay and whatnot, but I tracked down a 4-leg. Got them in a strip of SMD ports here, so I've got about 10 of them or something for other projects, but the 4 legs is obviously going to be twice as strong as a 2 leg, so we'll put that type in. But we have a small problem. On the USB port there's 2 little posts right just back there and there, 1 and 2, in the black plastic. Now they're meant to slot into those 2 holes just here and here, but they don't, because this is a slightly different footprint to the one that came out. These 2 holes have got to move down towards the bottom of the screen in this direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some ink or something on those 2 little posts. I'm going to put that USB port into the circuit board and press it down. It's not going to go all the way, of course, but the ink will then press onto the PCB. Then when I take it out, I have 2 dots, and I can use my my pin vise, my little handheld drill bit thingy, and some really small drill bits. You can see in there, tiny drill bits, and that will allow us to drill 2 more holes, just here and just here. That will then slot straight in, solder it in, and we're ready to put this back in the speaker unit. So I'll get some ink and we'll see if we can make some marks there for us to drill. I've got my paint marker here. That's going to give me a reasonable amount of time before it dries to be able to put the port into the PCB. So I'll put some dots there. This is going to be a little bit of a delicate operation. Okay, got ink on there. Now let's see if we can get this onto the PCB. Just like that. So that's sitting there. Okay, so we'll take that off, see if we've got some white dots. And what have we got? I can see the dots there. They're just next to the existing holes, right next to them, just a little bit down from the hole. So all I need to do really is enlarge those holes, and because they're on the bottom, it's kind of good rather than being on the top, because the force is going to be pushing in. So even though I enlarge those holes, the force is in the direction of where I'm enlarging them. So the pushing force won't push any further. That's the size drill bit we're going to be using, 0.6mm. So my fat head's probably going to get in the way, but I'm going to give it an attempt at drilling 2 new holes so we can fit our new plug. Okay, so you might be able to see the elongated holes there. Now we'll see if our plug, our socket, will go in. Perfect. Look at that. You might be able to see on the bottom. I'm going to fill those holes up there with some hot snot, some hot melt glue. I can't use solder on those holes because it's plastic on the plug side, of course. So we'll put some hot melt glue on there, and once I've soldered on this side, I'll put some hot melt glue just on the back here as well, just to hold that in. But of course we can put on the 4 legs, we can solder the 4 legs in, and then the 5 pins. So that's the next step. So I'll heat up the soldering iron and we'll get that done. Okay, so first I'm going to do the soldering of the legs on the back just to hold it in place. That way it won't move around when I'm trying to do the small tiny pins. Nice clean soldering iron. These tiny little legs at the back. I'll show you a little trick that sometimes I use for these small circuit boards to hold them down. Just a bit of masking tape, and now it won't move around. You won't have to chase it around your desk like a dog chasing its food bowl. Alright, so here's our unit. Just got to get these plugs into the holes, solder it up, and then glue this board back in place with the old hot snot, like I said before, and then put it back together, see what happens. So I'm going to just do my usual trick of the masking tape just to hold this kind of somewhat in place. Alright. Alright, so that's in place. Let's flip around and stick it in. Now is a very good time to test to see if it works before we put it together. So I'm going to plug this USB cable in and see what happens. We should get lights here saying it's charging. Oh yeah, there we go. Nearly full anyway. But that's charging, so that means we got a successful repair. Here's a moment of truth. Does that line up with our hole? So put this on here. Looking pretty good. Let's see if it plugs in. Perfect. Nice. Yes. Okay. Now I'm just going to put the screws in. So I'll zoom out a bit more, just so I'm not going to be working off the screen, and we'll put this thing back together. So there we go. Look at that. All back together. No broken clips or leftover screws. So let's plug this in. See if it's going to charge for us. And there we go. It's charging. Nearly full, but that's definitely charging. Next test is an operational test. So let's see if this thing turns on. Give it a few seconds. There we go. That'll go blue. Now it's going to sync to my phone. There we go. And if I press play on my phone, we're going to get dubstep. We'll turn that crap off. And that's our speaker done. All working. Awesome. So that's a teardown and a repair of a JBL Flip 3. We'll see you next time.